My brothers and sisters, what is going on? This is still Sermon in the House. Monday morning with another video, and this time it's a Victory Monday, as gonna touch up on something about yesterday's game against Carolina Panthers. We win it 24-16 over them. Again, obviously this is not really a win to be excited about, but as always, I come on here and do Victory Mondays whenever we win, and I do mornings, that's MOURNING, when we lose. So, as always, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram and on Twitter. Links are posted in the box down below. So, yeah, a couple of players that I needed to shout out yesterday that I didn't, so I'm going to do it in this video. Number one, George Pickens. I mean, ever since this guy had that fit down in Atlanta where he was complaining on the sidelines about how he's not getting the ball enough and how, you're missing me or whatever it was that he said. I know he said, throw me the effing ball, but yesterday he came through. Couple of really great catches for him, including that amazing catch early on in the game where he caught it over, I think it was one Panther defender, I'm not sure, and he made an amazing catch on third down again. It just goes to show you, man, when Pickens puts his mind to it, and when he's focused and when he's on his A game, a lot of great things happen. And yesterday wasn't just the first time. All season he's come through with some real big catches. So it has me wondering with George Pickens, is he on pace to be a number one receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Because while I don't think that we have a number one receiver on this team, I do think as of right now, George Pickens is our most consistent receiver, and bear in mind, he's a rookie as well. So that's my thought with George Pickens. Now, that being said, I still want us to, get a receiver second or third round of the draft, preferably the second, because if the draft were to happen right now, we'd be having the 33rd overall pick with the Chase Claypool trade. So I think that we should still search for that receiver in the draft because, quite frankly, I know Deontay Johnson had a pretty solid game yesterday, but the guy has no touchdowns on the year. 15 weeks in the season, 14 games played, he still has not had a touchdown. And one solid game from him doesn't change my mind about him. He's still been a massive letdown for us this year. Then you got to figure with Pat Freiermuth, who's been quiet all day yesterday, even though he's a tight end. He is a very good favorite target over here. And then, of course, you got Calvin Austin, who's been injured all season. So we don't know if he's capable of being that guy. But I still stand by that when Calvin Austin comes back, I still want to see him, show what he's capable of. Then, of course, you got guys like Steve Sims and Gunnar Olszewski. I'm not really, highlighting them a whole lot because because those two are mostly special teams guys, but we do see their fair share of, getting action on the field as well. But I'm not really counting them in this video. But you look at George Pickens. The guy's been our most consistent receiver so far this year. And I think that I'm starting to really get hopeful with him that he can really be our number one receiver. But only time will tell. And I know that these final 3 games don't mean anything for us because, let's face it, we're 6-8 and we lose on Saturday. That's going to officially eliminate us from playoff contention. But these final 3 games, they're not about competing. They're not about getting in the playoff hunt. They're not about clinching a playoff spot. These final 3 games are about development. And I think George Pickens has just asserted himself into that conversation right there along with Kenny Pickett and right along there with Najee Harris. So these final 3 games, I want to see the development. If Kenny Pickett's good to play, even though I still think we should shut him down, but if he is going to play, it's all about his development. It's about Najee continuing to develop. And it's about George Pickens continuing to develop. So that's my take with George Pickens for yesterday. Real good game for him, and keep it up. But then there's another guy who, if you know my channel for a long time, since 2018, you'd know that I'm very critical of this guy. And that's Terrell Edmunds. That's right. I think Terrell Edmonds had a real good game yesterday. Now, when we took him in the first round of 2018, I was very critical of him. I was like, huh? What? And for a long time, I criticized this guy. I called him out in videos. I bashed him. I called him trash. I called him just about every mean thing that you can say. But you know what? This season, he's starting to grow on me a little bit. Because let's face it, a lot of Steeler fans have been spoiled by Polamalu. And I think it was a little, and looking back at it, I think it's unfair to say, yeah, this guy's going to be Polamalu. He has to be exactly like Polamalu. But then I'm like, you know what? With Terrell Edmonds, I look back on guys like Mike Mitchell. I look back on guys like Morgan Burnett. And I look back on guys like even Lee Flowers back in the day. And I look at Terrell Edmonds, and I'm like, you know what? It could be worse. Because Mike Mitchell's was trash. Lee Flowers is very inconsistent. And Morgan Burnett, that guy, not even worth mentioning his name. But you look at what Terrell Edmonds is capable of doing. Although I still don't think that he should be a coverage safety. I still don't think that he should be covering deep. When you put him in the box, he makes some good plays. And that showed yesterday. A tackle for a loss, coming in on a safety blitz, stopping the run. When Sam Darnold was throwing the ball yesterday, he was throwing it on checkdowns and screens. And Edmonds was able to make a play on it. Is Terrell Edmonds starting to develop into a box safety? You put him in the box right there and he's making all these plays. And maybe he is just an incredibly late bloomer. I don't know. Maybe he just needed a new defensive coordinator. I don't know. But there hasn't been much to complain about with Terrell Edmonds this year. There really hasn't. And I must say, he is, like I said, he's starting to grow on me. Now, granted, I still think he needs to learn how to finish tackles, and I still think he needs to learn how to, be able, if you are going to put him deep, he needs to be able to cover deep. But I think giving him with the right defensive coordinator and giving him a right defensive assistant, he's really not all that bad. Because let's face it, like I said, it could be worse. We could still have Mike Mitchell. We could still have Morgan Burnett. And I think Terrell Edmonds is an upgrade over them, which is why we canned Mike Mitchell in the 2018 offseason, and we foolishly brought in Morgan Burnett, hopefully, hoping that he can be, opposite of Terrell Edmonds. Right now, I'm saying who can play opposite of Terrell. Obviously we got Minkah Fitzpatrick for that, but if you were to ask me if we were going to keep Terrell Edmonds for another year, my honest opinion, I say yes. I say we keep him for 2023, see if he can continue to make progress, and then who knows, maybe if we decide to get rid of him, we can actually get something good for him, because seeing that he was a first-round pick and seeing that he is starting to play better in the box as a safety, we could probably get something good for that if we were going to move on from him. But yeah, man, I got to say, Terrell Edmonds, he's been turning my head this year. He really has. There hasn't been much to complain about with him this year. And to that I say, keep up the good work. For real, keep up the good work. And that'll do it for my Victory Monday, man. I know not much to say, but I pretty much covered everything that went right for us in yesterday's pregame. But let me know what you think down below. Do you think George Pickens can be a number 1? And what are your thoughts on Terrell Edmonds? Let me know in the comments below. This is Steel Sermon checking on out for the day. May God be with you all.